Welcome guys back to another episode of Improvement Time. This week we're going to go over some of my weekly progress with nutrition and training. So here is a footage of my pull B workouts. Typically I like to do a more closer narrow grip for those chest supported rolls, and I usually go 5x5s just to work on strength and also the thickness of the back. So I kind of sub that out for T-bar rolls. I also like to superset that with shrugs just because it's close to the machine. And one thing I really want to bring up this off season is to have a thicker traps. So as you can see, I was working with 3 plates and a quarter on each side. Very controlled. The only thing that's been pretty tough with these is this initial setup and the initial pull. So typically when I do set up, I have to stand up. As you can see, Maggie spotting me, helping me set up. It's much harder to do it by myself because I'm so short and I lose like about a rep. But when somebody's able to push off of me, I definitely have more strength and feel more control. Overall, it felt good. I didn't improve much weight on it, but I did add on another set of my top set. So overall, progressing everywhere. The next movement we did was the lat pull downs, and again here at the time I felt really pumped my my lats. So as I do these as well, I also superset them with the shrug machine in the back. I did go up in weight significantly compared to like I would say like a month ago with these. Again, I think something that really contributed to this is that the consistency and the frequency I've been using performing the exercise. I do wish I can kind of flare out my lats a little bit more, just looking back in the videos, and that's something I'm going to be mindful of working out back the next pull day I have. But overall, everything was definitely going up. Just it feels nice to finally be able to lift heavier because as you guys noticed, when I did transition back to a surplus, there's so many interruptions, and I got sick and life problems, but I'm fully committed now to really just add the calories and just train intense. So far, thankfully, training has been great. I've been progressing every week, every session. Here I try to do some body weight pull-ups. I usually typically go AMRAP, but again, these I've been able to hit about 12 reps each set for these compared to like the first time I started adding these into my rotation. So what I'm thinking about doing is I'm thinking of actually changing those. Instead of body weights, I'll probably do weighted pull-ups. So I will probably do AMRAP as well, and I'll try to, once I hit to the 10 to the 15 range, I'll add more weights. But I'm thinking about starting with just a quarter just to see how I feel. Moving on, the next movement is the deadlifts. So I've been adding conventional deadlifts back into my pull B. It's funny because every time I do these, I have to go by feel. So the first time I did these, I did touch and goes, and it kind of like strained my back a little bit. And I remember I was like, even though I felt great at the gym, during the recovery process it was like a nightmare. It was a disaster. So the following week or 2 weeks, I did dead stop instead. So the following week I did dead stop instead. So when I did the dead stop pull, it was more control. I was able to go heavier, more reps, and without feeling pain. And that's always going to be like priority, just feeling safe during the recovery and during the execution. But today I decided to actually do touch and goes, and I remember I was texting Maggie because Maggie was upstairs. I was like, I did my first set and I didn't go to Snap City, and she was like, don't be crazy, don't do it. But usually the weights, it moves off a little bit, so I think that's what kind of like threw me off because I'm trying to balance myself. But that day it was very stable, like it wasn't really moving. As you can see, I worked up all the way to 3 plates and a quarter on each side, and I haven't done that for conventional in a long time, at least for higher volume. So the goal for these is always to hit anywhere from 8 to 12 reps. So I try to go somewhere where it's more you know, higher volume, but not as heavy. But I also want to try to go as heavy as I can. It felt really good, to be honest. It was very controlled tempo. As you can see, just looking back at the video now, like it felt good, and I think that's something I want to preach is when things feel good, you just got to go with it, and when things don't feel right, you got to be smart and really pull away from it and try to do something else in replacement of it, because at the end of the day, it's you want to get quality workout in, quality recovery, and you want to come back sooner. Because what if is it really worth it if I do something, get hurt for like 2 weeks, set back, and then I have to wait another 3 weeks to really try to progress? So keeping it safe. As you can see, it felt really good, and I was really proud. Moving on after this, we're doing side laterals with shrugs, and one thing I'm seeing is it's more controlled. Definitely not, it's not progressing as fast as I would like, because usually by the time I get back to these I'm pretty taxed. But as you can see, I'm starting to have that more rounded, fuller look. But you know, this comes with bulking in the off season, and I definitely like this look, because the last time around when I was in the off season, I had this look, but not to this degree. So I know I mentioned in my previous videos, and for all of my newer subscribers, one thing I noticed is I'm more like I mention all the time, I'm not as lean, but definitely I feel the improvements. I see it, like, you know. So it's going to be pretty interesting if I continue this for the next few years, and just when the time comes, time to chip away and see what's underneath. You know, here I just finished up with some cable curls, and again, I was doing this preacher curl machine and I didn't like it as much, so I decided to just stick to the basics, cable curls, just feel it. As long as I feel the movement, that's what I want. Alright, so this is actually the next working day. I did take a day off just to kind of recover myself, because I actually went out that weekend. That day from the pole day I went out, and it was pretty tiring, to be honest. Like the next day I remember I was just sleeping all day. So I went out for my buddy's birthday, and you know, we got some good food, had some drinks, and it was just overall like my body's not recovering the way it used to be because I'm getting older. But I took a day off and then went back the following day for a push workout, a push A workout, and everything actually felt pretty good. I'm actually kind of glad I got to just stay home, sleep, and just relax a little bit. Sometimes that's good mentally and physically. So as you can see, I started busting out the elbow sleeves. So I had these sleeves for, I would say, like 2 years, maybe 2.5, but I haven't really pushed hard enough to really use them. So I decided, like, hey, you know, I'm gonna try to really start overloading with the dumbbells. So let me start busting them out, because I don't want to like hurt my elbows. So as you can see, definitely moving up. I was really pleased with these. Just doing 85s, and actually touched the 90s, which you'll see in a bit. And I was really proud of myself, because I just remember coming back from all the things that happened and started my improvement season. When I started this improvement time, my dumbbells were, I think the dumbbell work was only up to like 65. So it did take some time, but I'm starting to really feel the groove right now. The 90s, these could definitely be tighter. But again, this was my first time touching 90-pound dumbbells in God knows how long. I'm talking about like years, you know. The last time I touched hundreds was like back in 2010, 2011, and you know, I didn't really do it correctly, so I kind of like strained my shoulders a little bit. But the goal is to finally hit 100s in the future, so we'll see. Next movement, the last time I did this split, I did hit a plate for my last 2 sets. So what I like to do is I always typically like to start just to go by 40s for my first working set, just to see how I feel, because sometimes you can feel great, or sometimes you can push harder on your first compound movement, and then you're just like, hey, I can't push as hard as the next. So I remember everything felt good, so I don't know what that means. We're moving to try to do 3 sets of a plate on each side for multiple reps. I was really pleased with them. I actually hit 10 reps, and the second set I hit I believe 8 and 9. So although the weight didn't go up, I did do an extra set. I did do extra reps, so still progressing, still overloading. Very pleased, very controlled, very minimum swing. I definitely see my shoulders growing. Hopefully to keep this going, keep the momentum going. That's gonna really help out when it's showtime for me, at least. Let's see what's next. This is gonna be the next set. As you can see, it could be the elbow sleeves. I'm not lying, because sometimes when you have the belt or the sleeves or the wrist wraps, it does take some stress and some load off. But hey, listen, if it helps me work out safer, that's something I'm willing to add on just to keep it going. And this is going to be the last working set. And I remember I was really hyped doing this, my third set. I remember Maggie came by just to see what I was doing, and I told her, I was like, hey, I'm actually I'm feeling pretty good, especially for the day before. I was like knocked out, like totally sleeping all day, and like I would just wake up, eat, and go back to sleep. That's how drained I was. But definitely happy with all the progress going so far. Nutrition can be on point. So because I did go out, there were a few days where I didn't track, but I made sure I spaced my macros out, and I try to hit as much carbs as possible. As you can see, I'm actually working a little bit higher incline for the next set. I'm really liking these, actually. I actually feel more. So the goal is, I did talk to Christopher Barakat, my coach, and he does want me to experiment a little bit with just hitting upper and lower chest. So I'm actually thinking about maybe end of March, probably end of March or beginning of April, just to commit to that and really take out the flat bench work. But it's hard because right now I'm making so much progress, and I want to see how much more I can make within the next month, just to see how it can go. But at the end of the day, the goal is to improve my physique. So I'll give myself till maybe end of March just to see where I'm at, and then I'm gonna commit about, I would say, 16 weeks. 16 weeks just to see how my body responds to that. I know 16 weeks is a long time, but we'll see how it goes. But because when the summertime comes, the goal is to try to look. This summer is gonna be very different because I don't have to transition out. I'm not doing a mini cut. I don't plan on doing a mini cut anytime soon, because right now I think I'm like I just finally hit that spot where I'm putting on weight, I'm putting on improved size, I'm feeling strong in the gym, and I'm able to eat a lot of food for recovery. So that's something I definitely want to continue going. As you can see, I'm doing the decline hammers. And I just really like this gym. I mean, they have a lot of these machines where they didn't have at the previous gym that I used to go to for my last two off seasons. So I'm really pleased to see. I'm really excited to see what I can do with the next 4 years. I remember just going up in weight, and so this is gonna be my last movement, and it's the tricep extension. As you can see, the arm is getting big. It's getting huge. From all the food. So that's it going to be for this week's update. Just tune in for the next update coming up. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys like the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.